So, how do you pay these off? Yeah, took me 20 years. Okay. This is one method to pay off credit card debt. Basically, there's only there's three ways to pay off credit card debt. One, make enough money to pay it off. Okay. Two, sell or have given to you enough money to pay it off. Three, more credit cards. And three is the option I had to pick. I didn't have anything to sell. No one was going to give me any money. And I was already working 3 full-time jobs. So I can't go make more money. That just wasn't practical. Now, this is not going to help you during this current situation, okay? This is during normal times. But the way you pay off credit cards, with the method that I chose, which was actually working, is you get more credit cards, okay? So the first thing you have to do is you have to stabilize your debt. You have to make your payments. There's nothing else you can do. That's it. You have to make your payments. You have to improve your credit score. And the only way you do that is by not being late on anything. You stop using credit cards. I don't care what it takes. You stop using them. You just pay them. You need to get one credit card that allows a balance transfer. That's how you start the snowball rolling. Okay? And if you don't fuck it up, you'll be paying off a couple of credit cards a year in very rapid succession. Okay? So, for example, I'll use this one as an example. $3,500 limit, and I got a balance transfer for 4%. Okay? So I took my $3,500 in highest interest credit cards, and I transferred them to this for 4%. You're saying, but you're paying a 4% lump sum. That's right. So think of it as a 4% APR. How many credit cards do you got that are 4% APR? If you're struggling with credit, you're probably in the 20 to 30% range. Okay? Now, the magic of using a credit card to pay off a credit card is that the 15 months or 18 months that I have, 12, 15, 18, depends on the offer, I put all of my payments on this. I don't use it at all. Never ever use it, because then that interest gets paid off last. Okay? You can't use the card. You do a single balance transfer to your bank account and you use that money to pay off other cards. You stop using those cards altogether. If you so much as touch one of those credit cards, you just fucked yourself up the ass, because now you got that debt again and the transferred debt to this card. Okay? That's not how it works. If you don't have the willpower to stop using the credit cards, this is not going to work. Okay? You then pay this card down. And every time you pay this card down, depending on the offer, you can sometimes add more to the balance transfer. Sometimes you can't. Okay? But the point is, now the next 12, 15, or 18 payments that I make to this card are 100% principal payments. That means 100% of the money that I send to this company goes to paying down the debt. So now when I make, my $300 a month payment to this card, or $250 a month payment to pay it off by the end of the term, if at all possible, even if you're only paying $100 a month on the card, you're going to pay off $1,500, or half of the balance, with zero effective interest, meaning 100% of that $100 a month you sent to them paid off your balance. While if you were paying 3 or 4 individual cards, you'd be lucky if 50% of your money was going to paying off the balance. Okay? So now I've paid off $1,500 in debt instead of $750 in debt, or worse. Okay? If you've got 5 or 6 $500 cards, this is very, very effective. Don't cancel any cards, even if they have annual fees, because that'll hurt your credit score. Okay? The idea is, now those cards have a zero balance. Your credit score looks better. Okay? You're going to get a slight dip signing up for a card, but that's a small dip and you recover quick from that. You're going to get a big boost in your credit rating by now having those 3, 4, 5 cards paid down to zero. And a year goes by, and even only making a $100 payment, you've now paid down half of this card. Again, on your credit, that affects your debt to income ratio. They see your available credit and they see your total debt, and it now looks better. All right, because you have those cards paid off to zero and this card paid off to half. Now maybe you get another credit card offer, and you might get a slightly larger balance. So now maybe you'll get, a $5,000 credit card that has a 15-month balance transfer. Well, first thing you do is you transfer this balance to that card, and then you grab 2 or 3 of your other credit cards and transfer those to that card, maxing it out. You pay your 4%, but now, once again, you now have 6 or 7 credit cards with zero balance. Right? Your credit improves. And then now you have less credit cards to pay. Now you can afford to pay $200 a month on this new card. Okay? So now you've paid off, half of this new card in the 15 months that you had the balance transfer rate. Now you're going to get an even better offer. So then you do what I did. Like I got my PNC card, $7,500. I transferred 100% of all of my credit cards to that card, and they only charged me 2%. Okay? And that's 18 months. Now I got 18 months where I can spend $300 a month paying off a $7,000 balance. Again, paying it off in half a year. Now when I do a balance transfer again, one of my other existing cards will probably be sending me these little checks saying I could do a balance transfer again. So I bounce the card to another card. I pay the 4%, but again, now I get 12, 15, or 18 months where I am able to make 100% principal payments. Now the cards are all paid off. You could pay off a significant number of credit cards in 4 or 5 years using this method. That's how I got my debt paid off. I use the credit cards against themselves. Okay? But this only works if you have the willpower to not use the cards. Because if you start off with $5,000 in debt and you transfer half of that to a balance transfer card and then you reuse the card you just paid off, now you just have $2,500 more in debt. Okay? What screws you with a credit card is not even the interest rate. That's not even what screws you. What screws you with the credit card is when you have 3, 4, 5, 10, 12 of them, and you're making minimum payments on 12 cards. You know how long it takes off to pay a decent credit card at minimum payments? Usually between 20 and 35 years. It'll tell you. It's part of the law now. If you look at the back of your statement, it'll say, if you pay this much per month, it'll take you this long to pay it off. If you make the minimum payment, it'll take you this long to pay it off. And it's usually right around 30 years. You see? So you might say, well, the interest, I'm making a $30 payment and the interest is, $10. Yeah, but now do that for 10 credit cards. Suddenly you're paying hundreds of dollars a month just in interest. Thousands a year just in interest. So if you can improve your credit enough to get approved for one more card that allows a balance transfer, even if it's only $1,000, that's still a 4% APR if you paid off within a year, because it's a 4% transfer fee, a 4% APR, and you can otherwise make 100% principal payments. That's why increasing the payment you make pays off a card so much faster, because you're attacking the principal instead of just making interest payments. But you have to have the willpower to stop using the cards, no matter what the cost. And if you don't mind the credit, you don't want to close the cards you pay off, because then your total available credit goes down and you might not get an offer for another card because your credit to debt ratio will be too high. You have to have the willpower to stop using the cards so you can leave the accounts open with a zero balance, because they will offset your balances. If you have $5,000 in credit and $5,000 of available credit, that looks very bad to creditors. If you have $5,000 in credit and $10,000 of available credit, your utilization is only 50%. That looks a lot better to creditors. And then they start giving you better interest rates. They start sending you more offers for cards. They start allowing you to take advantage of balance transfers. Okay? This is important. So if you have the willpower to stop using the cards, and you have good enough income that you are making the payments on the cards, you get one more card. And you only get a card if they allow a balance transfer. And you need to get more than $1,000. It just doesn't work out otherwise. because you need to be able to take 2 or 3 of your other credit cards and combine them into one. Because now instead of having 3 minimum payments with 3 interest payments, you have 1 minimum payment and 0 interest payments. That's how you pay down credit card debt. Unless, of course, you can earn more income or sell something to pay off debt, or somebody can loan you to pay off debt. But if you're bad with debt, that's not going to work. Okay? So there you go. You pay off credit cards by getting more credit cards. Now, I don't carry a balance. Well, I'm carrying a small balance because I just moved from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, so I have a small balance I'm paying off. But again, 0% interest. But otherwise, I use this card for everything. All automatic payments, because I get 3% back. I get, 18 to 20 bucks a month free. But that's only free if you pay it off every month, because the interest you pay will exceed the benefit you get. Okay, so those interest-backed credit cards only work if you pay it off every single month in full. You don't carry a balance. If you can't manage that, if you don't have the willpower to stop using the credit cards, this is just going to make your credit card problem worse. All right, this only works if you can stop using them. Okay, use these weapons against them. All right, turn them around, point the gun back at the credit card companies, and get yourself out of debt.